When your cat thinks you're not watching, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it might look like they're just wandering around doing random things, maybe even acting a little weird, but behind that simple behavior there's something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you ignore it, which most owners do, you might be missing the clearest signals your cat is sending about how they feel about you. Let us start with what your cat really does when they think no one is watching. Have you ever quietly watched your cat from a distance and noticed they act completely different when they think you are not paying attention? Most people think cats just do their own thing. But here is what is actually happening. Your cat is not being random, they are being unfiltered. When your cat thinks they are alone, they drop their social adjustments, they stop managing how they behave around you. What you are seeing is their natural state, the version of them that does not need to adapt, impress, or respond. Behavioral scientists have observed that animals, including cats, shift their behavior depending on whether they feel observed. When they are alone, their actions become more instinct-driven and less socially modified. But here is what most people do not realize. When you spy on your cat and notice they are calm, relaxed, and at ease in your space that is not neutral. That is emotional security. Think about that for a second. Your home is not just where your cat lives, it is where they feel safe enough to be completely themselves. And by the way, if your cat suddenly becomes restless or uneasy when they think they are alone, do not brush it off. We will get to what that really means later, and it is something most owners wish they understood sooner. Have you ever noticed your cat resting in a room where you just were even after you have left? Most people assume it is coincidence. But here is what is actually happening. A 2019 study from the University of Lincoln found that cats show measurable reductions in stress hormones when they are in environments associated with familiar humans, even when those humans are not physically present. That means your presence lingers. Not physically, emotionally. And here is where it gets even more powerful. Animal cognition research shows that cats form associations between specific spaces and emotional states, so if you regularly sit in a certain chair or spend time in a particular room, your cat does not just see that as a location. They experience it as a safe zone. Think about that for a second. Your absence does not erase your presence. It echoes. And when your cat chooses to stay in those spaces even when you are gone, they are choosing the feeling you leave behind. That is not habit. That is emotional attachment. Have you ever seen your cat rub against furniture or even objects you just touched when they think no one is watching? Most people think it is just marking territory. But here is what is actually happening. Cats have scent glands on their cheeks, paws, and body. When they rub against objects, they are not just claiming space, they are blending identities. Researchers who study feline behavior call this scent mapping. But emotionally it means something deeper. Your cat is integrating you into their world. When you touch something, your scent transfers. When your cat rubs against it afterward, they are layering their scent over yours, creating a shared signature. Think about that for a second. You are not just in your cat life. You are part of their environment. Part of their identity. And here is what most people do not realize. When your cat does this while you are not looking, it is not for attention. It is not a performance. It is instinct. Which means it is real. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever wondered why your cat patrols your home at night, checking corners, walking slowly, observing everything? Most people think cats are just being restless. But here is what is actually happening. Cats evolved as solitary hunters in the wild. Their survival depended on constant environmental awareness. Even in safe spaces, they instinctively scan for changes, movement, or threats. So when your cat walks around your home while you sleep, they are not just wandering. They are monitoring. And here is where it becomes powerful. Your cat includes you in that territory. Which means when they check your home, they are also protecting the space you exist in. Think about that for a second. Your cat is not just living with you. They are watching over the environment you share. This is ancient behavior redirected toward a modern bond. And when your cat does this quietly without you noticing, it is not for recognition. It is instinct meeting attachment. Have you ever noticed your cat behaves completely differently when other people are around compared to when they think they are alone? Maybe they hide, maybe they become distant. Most people think cats are just moody. But here is what is actually happening. Cats are highly selective about where they feel safe enough to be unfiltered. They do not reveal their true behavior to everyone. They assign trust based on consistency, predictability, and emotional experience. So when your cat relaxes fully in your space, moves freely, engages in natural behavior when they think no one is watching, that is not default behavior. That is chosen safety. Think about that for a second. Your cat does not act this way everywhere. They do not act this way with everyone. They act this way with you. And what makes this even more meaningful is, cats do not need to trust. So when they do, it is intentional. Have you ever quietly watched your cat and noticed moments where they seem completely at peace, completely still, completely themselves? No performance, no reaction, just existence. Most people overlook these moments. But here is what is actually happening. This is your cat at their most vulnerable. When a cat feels unsafe, they stay alert, tense, ready to react. But when they feel truly secure, they let go. They stop monitoring. They stop preparing to escape. They simply exist. And here is where it becomes deeply emotional. Remember earlier when I said if your cat becomes uneasy when alone, it matters. This is what I was talking about. Because when your cat allows themselves to be completely relaxed in your environment, even when they think no one is watching, they are doing something that goes against survival instinct. They are choosing trust over vigilance. Think about that for a second. In the wild, that kind of vulnerability could cost them everything. But with you, they allow it. That is not comfort. That is emotional safety at its highest level. Have you ever noticed your cat suddenly becoming less relaxed, less present, less themselves when alone? Most people assume it is just a phase. But here is what is actually happening. Cats do not change behavior randomly. Behavioral shifts like this are often early indicators of stress, discomfort, or environmental change. Cats do not express distress loudly. They express it through absence. Think about that for a second. When your cat stops being themselves, that is the signal. And here is where it becomes urgent. If you ignore it, you miss the earliest warning. But if you notice it, you protect the bond. Because your cat does not stop feeling safe without a reason. And your awareness is what keeps that safety intact. Do not ignore it. So when your cat thinks you are not watching, do you actually know what that means? It is not randomness. It is not independence. And it is definitely not indifference. That is your cat being their truest self in a space they trust. That is emotional safety. That is quiet, unspoken connection. That is your cat choosing to exist without fear in your presence even when you are not there. That is not small. That is not ordinary. That is trust. And those moments you thought did not matter, they were never small to them. And they should not be small to you either.